the US, and good evening to my friends in India. This is a great week. This week is a celebration of the power of global education, and today's topic highlights a partnership that is dynamic and transformative. As someone who arrived in the United States from India in 1988 to pursue higher education, this subject is deeply personal to me. My journey, like so many others, is a testament to the profound impact of the transformational power of higher education in somebody's life. India and the United States have a really rich history of collaboration in higher education. You go back to the pioneering partnerships in the mid 20th century, IIT Kanpur, etc., where people work together to establish world-class institutions, to the research initiatives we share today to address some of the world's most profound problems. Just this morning, I read a report on CNN based on the Open Doors report that was published Monday. Indian students have exceeded the Chinese students in the US for the first time in the last 15 years. This collaboration is important to the future of both nations. India's national education policy and the growing emphasis on internationalization in both nations present incredible opportunities. Dual degree programs, research collaborations, faculty exchanges, and technology-driven models are just a few avenues where we can work together. This session today brings together expertise that can guide us to these new possibilities. It's not just about strengthening academic ties. It is about preparing the next generation of global leaders who can navigate this complex and interconnected world. On today's journey, we will be guided by a wonderful cadre of experts who will provide some great presentations. You will hear from Aditi Walunj, the first Secretary of Education, Science and Technology, who's a career diplomat and has served in Moscow and before joining the Embassy of India in Washington, D.C. in 2022. She will provide updates on the collaborative initiatives between the US and India, focusing on partnerships through government agencies, organizations, and higher education institutions. She will be followed by Dr. Archana Thakur, Joint Secretary, University Grants Commission. Archana is a gold medalist in Masters of Science from Banaras Hindu University. She has worked as a scientist in India and internationally and has overseen various programs under central, deemed, and state universities while coordinating various working groups and committees for policies on higher education, regulations, and reforms. She will provide an institutional perspective regarding working with foreign institutions for academic collaboration and student mobility. Following her, Dr. Chandrasekhar, who has significant experience working with education, planning, management, policy, and monitoring and reviewing and assessing projects at various levels, will provide his views on India-US university collaborations and Study in India portal, along with opportunities for academic and related activities. So now I will turn this session over to Aditi, who will guide us through the first part of this program. Aditi?
Good morning, everyone joining from the East Coast and West Coast of the US, and good evening to everyone joining from India. Thank you, Sohail, for that kind introduction. Many thanks, first of all, to the American Association of State Colleges and Universities for organizing this webinar on such a timely and important subject that is so close to the future of two large democracies connected with strong people-to-people ties. We have about 5 million strong Indian diaspora present here in the US. And the strongest roots in this connect are the decades-long university-to-university collaborations, education and research ties, faculty-to-faculty relations, and presence of more than about 360,000 Indian students in the US, according to the recent figures by the Department of Homeland Security. With the increasing opportunities as well as challenges faced in emerging sectors globally, with the shifting of shifting of supply chains, focus of like-minded partners to build strong, resilient supply chains, strong manufacturing base, and for that requisite talent and human resources, skilled human resources. Both countries have focused on greater collaborations, partnerships in higher education and research and skilling. At government to government level, we have seen developments in this year, like the establishment of subcommittees in the working India-US Working Group on Education and Skill Development, with focus on increasing linkages in higher education, skilling and vocational education, leveraging private sector, certification and recognition of degrees by universities on both sides. As well as under the India-US initiative on critical and emerging technologies by establishment of Global Challenges Institute, which is under process of getting established, with focus on higher education, research, and industry partnerships in specific segments, including semiconductor technology and manufacturing, sustainable energy, sustainable agriculture and food security, health equity and pandemic preparedness, AI, cybersecurity, quantum technology, robotics, biotechnology, and other areas of emerging technologies. Universities and institutions are reaping the benefits of existing organic linkages to develop innovative partnership models between both sides, like offering dual or joint degrees, co-development of curriculum, one-year master's degree program in the US through partnerships between US and Indian universities, initiated under the aegis of US Department of State, establishing joint centers of excellence in India, as well as in US in various STEM related areas, recent being the Center of Excellence in Semiconductor between Purdue University and Indian Institute of Hyderabad. Many US universities have expressed interest in setting up branch campuses in Gift City in Ahmedabad and in other parts of India in view of recent UGC regulations on establishment of higher education institution campuses in India to tap the vast opportunities in India that is, more than 50% of its 1.4 billion population, about 700 million youth in India with significant disposable income as such. And who are looking for global opportunities in the country itself. All these developments are further facilitated by reforms in education in India being implemented through the new national education policy and subsequent regulations for internationalization of education. To shed light on these reforms and developments in regulations, we have presence of Dr. Archana Thakur, Joint Secretary, which is Assistant Secretary equivalent in the US system, of University Grants Commission of India. I request Dr. Thakur to brief about developments in education sector, including latest reforms, UGC regulations, and potential areas of collaboration with Indian universities. To start with, we may play a brief video on joint dual degrees by Dr. Thakur.
Higher education institutions. They collaborate on curriculum design, teaching, and evaluation. Students receive a single degree that includes the name of both. UGC has issued regulations on academic collaboration between Indian and foreign higher education institutions. The idea is to offer twinning, joint, and dual degree programs. What is meant by twinning program? Students can pursue the part of their studies in an Indian higher education institution and the remaining portion at a foreign higher education institution. But remember that in twinning program, the degree is awarded solely by the Indian institution. The student gets good exposure to international education without fully relocating abroad. Students should also know what is meant by joint degree program. In a joint degree program, both Indian and foreign higher education institutions, they collaborate on curriculum design, teaching, and evaluation. Students receive a single degree that includes the name of both participating institutions. That means the degree is awarded jointly by both higher education institutions. What is meant by dual degree program? Students here can simultaneously enroll in two separate degree programs at Indian and foreign higher education institutions. Upon successful completion, they receive two degrees, one from each institution. The degrees are awarded independently, but coursework is coordinated to minimize the overlap. The UGC regulations are a part of our efforts to enhance the global competitiveness and international mobility, also to provide the students with more diverse learning opportunities. Please check out the eligibility for offering such collaborative programs in the regulations. After the announcement of this regulation, a good number of eligible institutions came forward and extended their arms internationally, and UGC is glad to notice this. We welcome more institutions to come forward and join our hands.
I now invite Dr. Thakur to present her remarks. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Very good evening from India and good morning to all my colleagues who are in USA. I welcome all of you on this platform and who are eager to know about the development of higher education and internationalization, which is happening in India. So, in lines of NEP 2020, the University Grants Commission had notified the University Grants Commission academic collaboration between Indian, foreign, and higher education institutions to offer a joint and dual degree programs. Which you saw my video just now, as encouraging Indian institutes to collaborate with the foreign institutes to offer joint, dual, and twinning programs, especially subjects which are like cloud computing, supercomputer, climate change, sustainability. And till now, we have more than 100 institutions which have academic collaboration with the foreign higher education. And also, we have issued necessary guidelines for Office of International Affairs and also for the operationalization of effective approaches of between the Indian and international institutions. We have also encouraged the Indian higher educations to establish the Alumni Connect Cell as the alumni of foreign origin, as well as Indian alumni living abroad, who can play a crucial role in brand building of the Indian higher education institution abroad and making India a global study destination. The Alumni Connect encourages the Indian higher education institutions to engage with the alumni of foreign origin and Indians living abroad. So more than we have many institutions which has participated in this. Our dual joining and joint degree is strengthening the ties of collaboration between the Indian and foreign higher education, and we are getting a lot number of institutions who are opting to be a partner with us on this track. We have also come up with the guidelines to open foreign higher education institution branch campuses in India. And in this regard, already one letter of intent has been provided to University of Southampton from it is from UK. And these are the facilitations. And also we have reserved supernumerary seats for admission of foreign students in Indian higher education institutions. So that in undergraduate and postgraduate courses, so that HEIs may create around 25% of supernumerary seats for international students over and above their total sanctioned enrollment. This decision has made more higher education institutions to collaborate with the Indian higher education at a bigger and broader level. Our foreign campuses opening in India has also facilitated a lot of across brand building and also to understand about the Indian higher education institution. So at this platform, I would request all the institution and all our valuable speakers and listeners who are here to come forward for academic collaboration and joining dual and joint degrees and also for opening of the branch campuses. These regulations are there on the website and I'll be sharing shortly with Aditi and she can make it available to all of you. So thank you for listening with me. And if there is any query, it can be answered on this platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. In view of these regulations, lately we have seen many universities from the US, like Purdue University of California at San Diego, New York University, Johns Hopkins, Rice University, etc. They are entering into tie-ups with Indian universities for dual degrees, joint degrees as such. Thank you for those remarks. Now I invite Dr. B. Chandrasekhar. We have the esteemed presence of Dr. Chandrasekhar, Executive Director for Corporate Planning from EDSIL India Limited, to present views on India-US university collaborations and Study in India portal, opportunities for academic and related activities. Dr. Chandrasekhar has wide experience of working in country's premier higher educational institutions, including in Homi Bhabha National Institute, Triple IT Delhi, and UNESCO Regional Center for Biotechnology, an institute of international and national importance under the Department of Biotechnology, etc. He has contributed to India's education sector as an international sector expert for the World Bank, African Development Bank, etc. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Aditi, for a modest introduction. So, and it's wonderful to hear from all about the. I'm just quickly going to share this slide. I hope you are able to see this. Thank you, Professor Sohel, Dr. Priya Menon, Sophia Ali and Aditi for this modest introduction and inviting itself to give a view on the possible collaborations, academic collaboration opportunities, and also present to you the key features of Study in India portal. So, as you know, the Study in India is one of the flagship program of the Ministry of Education. Objective is, while Suhail mentioned about the highest number of foreign students coming to studying in USA, United States, a similar objective is what the Ministry of Education is also aiming at, and that's why we see that the Study in India program has emerged out of this whole ambition of showing Indian education to the global world. Inherently, the legacy of education in India dates back to fourth and fifth century. The establishment of Nalanda University, Vikramshila, which has anyway its legacy in terms of multidisciplinary education. And India is also proud to have one of the oldest classical language, which is more than 3,000 years old. And even those times in fourth and fifth century, there were students who came to India to study and translated the Vedas, the astronomy, the mathematics into their respective their own languages, and the knowledge was shared even those times to the worldwide. So that's the legacy Indian education offers since its beginning. And today we resurrect that quality of education into that field where Vedas and the historical philosophy component is built into each learning aspects of Indian education. So that's the legacy India brings in. And as you know, it has grown in multidisciplinary. There is a variety of interest by the learners to come to studying in India, and as we know, the trend has been progressing with several aspirations and so on. So there is students who are willing to come to study in India had difficulty. So that's where the Study in India program was conceived to make coming to India very simple. And that's how the Study in India portal was created with multiple objectives that the learners have a choice to going across to having a choice of study programs. And this Study India portal will allow a learner to apply for multiple institutions, multiple programs. And it's a dynamic portal which allows learners to have their choice. And this time, from the 2022, as I speak, the visa process is also integrated. So a learner logging into the portal will have a seamless experience. That's the objective which we had made. And this is a kind of, to briefly mention about the diverse landscape while we talk about the historical legacy of India's education system. As we speak today, there are 1,113 universities, dedicated universities. When I say universities, there are universities which are multidisciplinary nature. There are disciplines which are focused on engineering, technology, marine courses, fashion, design, Indian system of medicine, philosophy, and so on. So that's the kind of opportunity a learner will have a choice to go across. While we look at with the national education policy mentioned by several of the learners here, eminent educationists who know about, the learners can now have a choice of multiple options, studying variety of courses, but taking a specialized in their own learner's choice. So that's the kind of multidisciplinary this allows. And this portal, as I speak, is a one single stop solution where a learner logs into, gets into variety of services. I think becomes a very unique. You can see there are scholarship, there are supernumerary seats announced here, which will know institute by institute, program by program, what's the number of availability of the seats, and the offer letter, admission letters by the institutes are posted on the same portal. And with that, the student, the admitted students can get into kind of getting a visa process also made. So that's the seamless experience this portal provides. The learner, I think the student, when they logs into the portal, they are assured that these institutions have quality assurance matrix. Some of the parameters which I mentioned, the NAC is the National Assessment Accreditation Council scores, which is an Indian enable system, but having several of the parameters on academic, student related, facilities, research publications, patents, so on. So they are also go through a rigorous process of getting these scores. And we had also embraced the other qualifications criteria like QS ranking and even autonomy given by their own ministries. There are several institutions which I mentioned about, whether it is to do with marine, railway transport, defense, and so on. They are established for certain purposes, objectives, taking into account a long term perspective. So there is a specialized, skilled manpower coming through this learning system. So that's the broader aspect in terms of quality assurance matrix. And again, to just simplify the process, that's the seamless experience which I had mentioned about. Student registers into this portal, fills in very simple information and on their academic credentials, and it is dynamically pushed to the respective institutions. The students have their choice, and the institutions are able to see their application, scrutinize, and offer the admissions letter through the same portal. So once the student accepts the offer letter, it can also trigger information for applying to visa. So that's the kind of seamless integration we brought about. Just to again consolidate the whole process, this portal now becomes, as we speak about, we are not looking at students, learners who come for regular programs, but also short programs and professional programs and so on. So that's going to be the kind of objective this will have. So any institutions offering short courses or any other modular programs will also publish their information in this portal. And what is mandatory for visa is also that the Study in India student ID, any student at any point of time coming to study in India have to get their mandatorily register in this portal, create a student ID which will be mandatory for issuance of visa. So, and why this is also because we had enabled two types of visa. One is visa online, which is a regular process as per the Ministry of External Affairs and Ministry of Home Affairs regulations, and the e-visa for the first year of students who have applied and submitted their fees for their first semester of the first year program or graduation. They can straight away get to e-visa process also. They need not get into any kind of physically go to the centers or look for any kind of consultants to assist in their visa process. This portal becomes a holistic, simple, dynamic process for the visa issuance also. Well, I just wanted to briefly mention, I think the students or any parents in that matter should not get worried about their information. So there is a kind of secured feature happens when the students logs in. There is a complete student dashboard for him to see number of applications mentioned, courses mentioned, and so on. Once they log in, get into their next stage of application submission. Similarly, what is information needed by the visa officer will be enabled through that. So there is a systemic dynamic feature which goes along. So one can be assured that there is a complete data secured feature. This is a simplified process of putting this how the data will interact. Just for information purposes, I'm trying to show this. Otherwise, it's a secured system. This portal is now secured on several features and several. There are four stakeholders mentioned: the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of External Affairs, and Bureau of Immigration, which looks at the visa tracking process. And what is information needed by the respective stakeholders, they are able to access for awarding their respective functions. So that's the kind of synergy we brought in. There's another aspect which we are looking at wider scope of the education system, where there are several statutory councils looking at each of their areas, whether it is to do pharmacy, medical, and there are Indian system like homeopathy and so on. So there is a kind of synergy, and each statutory councils follow a respective standards. We brought in these standards and the information about the quality matrices which I mentioned about. Those institutions are registered on the portal. So any students coming into this portal through this portal will be assured of they get to the right kind of institutions, right kind of program, the right kind of facility. So that's the this portal information will be all about. So in addition to that, the government of India, why this I initially mentioned about the Study in India student ID, that is mandatory because now this portal will be one single source where all national, international schemes, bilateral schemes are converging towards this. As I speak, the Indian Council for Cultural Relations scholarships, which is offered by MEA, is now integrated into this portal. And even now, students logging into this portal can see the Ministry of External Affairs scholarships also. There are other schemes like direct admission of students abroad, wherein the Middle East country students of persons of Indian origin or NRI is also enabled through this portal. So there are several bilateral schemes which even the Department of Science and Technology, Department of Biotechnology has collaborations with some of these foreign institutions. We wanted where there are faculty exchanges, student exchanges, international mobility happens, they have to come through this portal, and visa will be issued based on the Study in India student ID created. So this is one information which I think several of these American universities, institutions to take a note of it. It will be mandatory for such scholars, students coming to study or coming for research purposes need to register in the Study in India portal. So this is a little bit of statistics which I wanted to share. Currently, there are, when I say 1,131, 34 universities, we have so far onboarded 641. So it's not mandatory to register, but now it will be mandatory for institutions to get onboarded to Study in India portal because the visa process regulations will follow this Study in India portal and their Study in India student ID. So even there are, while I think the UGC Joint Secretary also mentioned about the opportunities for foreign campuses, Indian institutions setting up their foreign campuses and foreign universities coming to India. There are also students who are enrolled in Indian university programs like IGNOU. There are a huge number of study centers. There are already students going across these kind of short programs. Now they will also be streamlined through the Study in India portal. So, well, amongst the most of the countries. These have been some of the programs of interest by international students coming here to study. You can see there are students who come for Buddhist studies and doctoral program on Buddhist studies, comparative religion, and so on. While there is largely, if I put this into number of countries who have shown interest, largely the developing countries or the neighboring countries have shown interest on engineering and technology programs, while the other countries have even looked at music, for arts, dance, and so on and so forth. There is an interest by other countries. Just for information, I thought this is the kind of student who have registered on the portal, and there are more than 48,000 students who are currently international students studying in Indian institutions. As we create the supernumerary seats, there is an objective we need to move across. So while I speak, I also mentioned that how these supernumerary seats also can be followed. We looked at it at several pillars of academic related activities. While the twinning program example has been brought about, and Study in India will now promote looking at these joint programs, dual degree programs, or doctoral program joint, like IIT Delhi has its campus with other universities. IIT Bombay has its research center focused with Australian universities and UK universities. A similar thing one should always look at. So while consolidating all this, what is that wider opportunity we looked at with the US India academic collaborations? So there are several public universities, IITs, IIMs, NITs, and triple ITs, and there are state agriculture universities also. Agriculture has its very unique program tied up under either through the World Bank funded projects, or their own bilateral schemes where scientists go abroad to either acquire higher qualifications or specialized training in AI and cybersecurity and so on. So those also needs to be covered through Study in India. So while UGC also mentions about the joint twinning programs and joint programs, we should look at that opportunity, and looking at even other pioneering areas where the government of India has already set up some mission cells on biomedical AI and other frontier areas. There is a kind of collaboration which we should look at. So I also mentioned that yes, there are 1,130 universities in India, and the Study in India portal currently has information about 640 institutions. I think each institutions can log into the Study in India portal to find entire information about these institutions. They also have this portal also publishes information on faculty, research schemes, publications, the kind of facilities each institutes will have, and they can start collaborating and use this Study in India portal as an information for these further academic collaborations, which I am trying to show now. So, in addition, the Ministry of Education also executes a program on scheme for academic and research collaboration, the SPARK program. The last year, there were more than 250 applications received by Indian faculty and US faculty who will be collaborating. I think this number, there is an opportunity to work on that particular areas. And while the Spark program itself is a component where faculty of each universities collaborate in terms of bringing out a scopus or the index based publications, and doing kind of national workshop to disseminate those research outcomes. While that is the objectives, still it can Study in India can really facilitate this whole process in terms of how collaborations can happen in variety of areas. So that is while I am speaking about this, the Study in India program was presented in NAFSA 2024 in New Orleans. Uh, while we are doing the Study in India fair in several of the countries, we also reach out to the schools and higher education institution to see how student mobility, faculty mobility can happen in terms of both the institutions can work around it. And we met the Louisiana State Health University in New Orleans, and there are advanced level discussions on designing a kind of a global public health program at a postgraduate level. So we have advanced, and in fact, we just concluded a third round of meeting in terms of the working arrangement of how this program can be developed, and how the Indian Institute of Public Health faculty can collaborate with LSU Health Center in New Orleans in areas on biomedical science, data analytics, and again relating to public health particularly. And they have also have showed interest to work on biomedical science applications with the IITs, which we are doing the second round of discussions in identifying those key areas of collaborations, how faculties can work together in developing a program per se, or doing a research program. So this is a kind of opportunity just wanted to give it as an example for takeaways to US higher education institutions who have joined here, and my own Indian colleagues who study in India partner institutions who have joined will be able to collaborate actively in such opportunities, because after all we are all looking at is achieving one academic excellence and clear research outcomes for the benefit of the common society and development of nation, or globally in terms of improving the overall economic and development. So while this has
Thank you,
been
Dr.
the
Chandrasekhar. Dr. Chandrasekhar, thank you very much. I think we need to hear from we have a couple of other speakers we need to hear from. So I don't mean to be rude and cut anyone off, but we do have a couple of other items of this. So a lot of good information presented. And it's important to note that for any international collaboration to succeed, there must be a buy-in from all levels of an organization. While great ideas evolve from faculty relationships and collaborations, getting a buy-in from the top level at any organization is important for sustaining relationships. We now have a Chancellor Frank from UW Stout that will talk about the University Chancellor's perspective regarding opportunities for advancing global research and innovation. Dr. Frank began her appointment in March 2020 at UW Stout, and before that spent time at Central Washington University. Dr. Frank is a leader who actually leads from the forefront. I spent time with her in China, where she collaborated with different institutions to promote global education. So Dr. Frank, will you please share your perspective with us?
Certainly, and I'll try to remain brief so that we have some time for questions as well. Just a little bit about UW Stout so that you understand our institution. We are Wisconsin's Polytechnic University. And I know there is a lot of synergy with institutions in India based on our philosophy of learning. So we talk about the ABCs of the Polytechnic, which means that we focus on applied learning and research, business and industry collaboration, and career-focused experiences. And this has already been talked about today. So as we think about our mission, I wanted to really focus on those three areas. And just so you understand our international student population, we have about 7,000 students total, and of those, 315 are international students. That's about 5% of our overall student body, and they come from more than 40 countries. At present, India is one of our top sending, one of the top sending nation, and it amounts to 1/3 of our international student body. So we've already really talked about the role of higher education in a globalized world, and I don't want to reiterate some of the things that others have said, besides pointing out that those business and industry sector alliances between India and US are so critical to the work that we do together in terms of our faculty-to-faculty exchanges, any sort of joint research efforts, and of course, as we think about best educating our students. One thing that I really do want to reiterate is the importance of people-to-people diplomacy. This continues to be incredibly important for creating long-term stability, fostering intercultural understanding, and will continue to provide a pathway for continued peace, innovation, and prosperity. So that was pointed out early on, and I just want to reiterate that point as well. So in terms of how UW Stout is committed to global engagement, we are very much focused on international student recruitment and support. And so just some examples of how we try to bring our students in and support them during their academic journey. We include scholarships as part of our activity, mentoring programs, and cultural activities. And right now we have an in-country representative in South Asia and Southeast Asia, two markets where the demand for the U.S. higher education is so significant. And these representatives allow us to build brand and communicate directly with prospective students and their families more directly. Our South Asian in-country representative has been working with us since 2021 and is based out of Mumbai. And I was able to visit India and work side by side with her. And I cannot tell you how important that impact is on on attracting students and really getting their families and supporters involved in the process. Right now at Stout, we have three full-time staff who are engaged in international student and scholar services, providing necessary support on a variety of topics, from non-immigrant visas to cultural events to programming and trips. And this evening, I will be attending one of our campus-wide international shows that the students are putting on with respect to international education week, and I cannot wait to see our South Asian students take center stage as they do every year with choreographed song and dance. It's just a wonderful celebration for not only our international students, but for the entire university community. And we take a very student-centered approach to learning at Stout, and we focus on catering to the unique needs of our students and filling in gaps that exist within our more rural settings. So that, and I know others can reflect on this as well, access to transportation, food choices, etc. We want to make sure our students feel welcome and safe in our community. And it's important that we think about their experiences both on and off campus. A couple of areas I'd like to emphasize are, of course, faculty and the student exchange programs. UW Stout sends approximately 200 to 300 students overseas each year on faculty-led and semester exchange programs. And our faculty and students engage with international colleagues to conduct collaborative research, and we have capacity in this area and desire to continue to welcome visiting scholars on our campus and to send outbound scholars to our partner institutions as well. We know how important the shared faculty research and exchange is. And there is a strong demand from our Indian partner institutions to welcome inbound students and scholars. And we are also prioritizing the importance of these opportunities in all of our new institutional agreements. We want to make sure we have both inbound and outbound learning experiences. I'll also point out the importance of online and hybrid learning to help supplement some of the actual exchanges that we're doing. And we all know the importance of the Collaborative Online International Learning Tool, or COIL. It took on new meaning during the COVID-19 pandemic, and it is a low, no-cost way for our institutions to integrate global learning into the current curricula. And UW Stout is continuing to work on developing our offerings in that area. We all know the benefits of increasing student and faculty exchanges in terms of enhanced cultural understanding, improved language skills, and career advancement. And I'm just going to emphasize this final point of career advancement because I heard it mentioned earlier. We know that international experiences improves the opportunities for job placement as well as higher salaries. And in a 2019 report, Developing a Globally Competitive Workforce Through Study Abroad, the Value of Study Abroad Skills in the U.S. Job Market, some of the points that were emphasized. Students develop communication, leadership, problem solving, and time management skills during study abroad, and those so-called soft skills are necessary in many industries and occupations. More than 31 million job openings required skills that a student acquires while studying abroad. Employers spent more time seeking qualified applicants for these positions versus the average job opening. Employers and job seekers recognize the skills developed during study abroad are essential for management and leadership positions. I think that's really important. And professional profiles that highlight the key study abroad soft skills included a higher number of people holding positions as presidents and CEOs than those without those skills. And so we are very focused at Stout on the importance of preparing our students for success after graduation. And we know that these types of experiences, both for our international students and for our domestic students, this chance to study abroad, to research with international partners, to experience the global reality that informs our days on informs our life on a daily basis. We know how important this is at Stout, and so we are very much focused on that career success. So in conclusion, I just want to reiterate what everybody else is saying, the importance of international collaboration and the role of higher education institutions in shaping a better future. We all agree that there needs to be increased investment in international education and research. And really, just want to encourage everybody to think about ways we can support initiatives that promote global engagement and advocacy for this work on all levels, because it's all about our students. It's all about our student success. So thank you all for the time, and I'll turn things back to our moderator.
Thank you, Dr. Frank. Chancellor Frank, a great job. You are absolutely correct. I have met your graduates, I have met your staff, and your folks practice what you preach. So thank you for your contribution. Our final speaker today is Dr. Priya Menon, who directs the University Honors Global Scholar Program. And Priya is an English professor at Troy University, but more importantly, Priya is a resident Fulbright expert. During her Fulbright, she conducted research on immigrant literature in Kerala, documenting stories of migrant workers to the Gulf cooperation countries. Priya will actually share some practical aspects of collaborating with universities. So, Dr. Menon, why don't you take over here and share with our audience what we discussed? Thank you.
Are you able to hear me?
Yep.
It's an honor for me to be here today to highlight Troy University's commitment to fostering global academic collaborations, particularly through our engagement with the Fulbright program that encourages faculty and research partnerships. I'm going to keep my presentation very, very brief. I would like to thank AASU team and our Senior Vice Chancellor for Student Services and Administration, Mr. Sohail Agrawala, for this opportunity. Troy University has a strong tradition of engaging in interdisciplinary research, with faculty actively involved in collaborative projects that extend across borders, including ongoing initiatives with Indian institutions. One of our models for focus on creating sustainable partnerships that drive innovation in teaching, research, and community engagement is through the Fulbright Scholar Program. Such programs offer scholars, such as myself, the chance to engage deeply with Indian institutions and contribute to international education dialogues. I will exemplify how such efforts create opportunities for faculty collaboration and innovative research that mutually benefit both US and Indian institutions. So what is Fulbright? Fulbright is the United States government's flagship public diplomacy and international education program. Each year, the Fulbright Scholar Fellowship provides approximately 800 grants in more than 160 countries to support teaching and research in a broad variety of academic and professional fields. This gives accomplished college and university faculty the opportunity to pursue their careers abroad. It is a competitive academic research and teaching fellowship with, as of now, 42 Fulbright Scholar alumni having served as heads of state or government, 62 Nobel Prize winners, 80 MacArthur Fellows, and 90 Pulitzer Prize winners. Fulbright is a very selective program that seeks to represent the best of the United States. It is unique in that it helps forge lasting connections with the host country. India is one of over 155 countries participating in the Fulbright program, and India's program is one of the largest, with more than 350 fellowships granted annually. This includes Fulbright student, scholar, administrator, and other awards. Troy University embraces the Fulbright program for academic collaboration through faculty and research exchange. Let me provide you with a very brief overview of how Fulbright enabled me to collaborate with India and its academic world. To pursue my research in Kerala, India, which is a state in the southernmost tip of India, I was on the lookout for possible funding opportunities. I identified the Fulbright Nehru Academic and Professional Excellence Award in India that aligned with my goals. And in 2018, I set out on a transformative opportunity, thanks to Fulbright, to study migrant literature from India to the Gulf Cooperation Council countries, such as the UAE and Kuwait, where 80% of the population consists of immigrants, primarily from the state of Kerala. My project, entitled Absent Workers of Arabia, explores the literary and cultural narratives of workers that I call petro-migrants, individuals who travel to oil-rich Gulf Cooperation Council countries for work. So here are some of the things that I did during my Fulbright. I taught and researched on Gulf migration at the Center for Development Studies in Kerala, India. I met and established contact with writers, academics, artists, curators, human rights activists in my field. One of the things that I cherish most is that I was able to connect with former Fulbright scholars in India while being there, who continue to help me get access to networks and resources for my study, which really helped me further understand the value of such collaborations. What professional impact did Fulbright have for me? Coming from a small rural institution in Alabama, Fulbright enhanced the credibility of my research and opened doors to global collaboration. It led to over half a dozen academic publications, numerous presentations, and the creation of a book review series on Gulf literature at Center for Development Studies in Thiruvananthapuram, my host institution in Kerala, which is a center traditionally focused on developmental economics. Post Fulbright, I've maintained access to petrofiction archives, achieved full professorship, and was named an alumni ambassador for the program, allowing me to connect with scholars worldwide. This fall, I've been selected to lead Troy University's Global Scholars Honors Program, mentoring students in international research, showing Fulbright's lasting impact on my career. I cherish this particular photograph taken during my Fulbright travel to a remote village in Kerala with the Kerala Migration Survey team during ethnographic research. This village in Tenalipuram in Palakkad, Kerala, hosts one of the largest migrant populations that provided me with great insights to the lives and experiences of people who migrate to Gulf and return after 20 to 30 years. The person on the extreme right is Abdul Qadir, who left Kerala when he was just 18 in search of work to Saudi Arabia and had just returned home after 20 years. He's one of the case studies in my work that makes visible how we lack an archive of Gulf migrant experiences, not just in India, but through the world. If not for US-India educational collaborations that enable programs such as Fulbright, I may never have gotten real-world research experiences such as this. What personal impact did it have for me? My family and I developed a greater appreciation for travel and cultural exchange. My daughter, who's presented there, wants to be a future Fulbrighter. My Malayalam skills, the native language of Kerala, has improved tremendously. In fact, currently I'm translating a text by award-winning novelist Benjamin from Malayalam to English. Kara has made great strides in engaging with Fulbright program beyond India. Just last year, we had many of our faculty members, administrators, travel worldwide to Germany, to Estonia. We had scholars from Egypt come visit us through the Fulbright program. We have scholars from Croatia, Slovenia come and visit our program as well. In conclusion, my experience represents just one of countless examples of how US-India collaborations have enriched scholars and institutions alike. There is no doubt that collaborations with Indian institutions enhance faculty exchanges, joint research, advance innovation that ultimately enrich global academic dialogue. My journey stands as a testament to the incredible potential of such collaborations to advance shared goals, strengthen academic ties, and inspire new possibilities for scholars worldwide. Thank you. I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you, Priya. I think that is a good example of how partnering with institutions can advance global understanding. Great presentation, and like Priya's daughter Meera, I would like to try the Maharaja Mac. But at this point, I realize we are almost out of time, but I would really like to thank Aditi for getting the folks together, Dr. Thakur and Dr. Chandrasekhar for presenting, Chancellor Frank, look forward to traveling with you in India when we get some more collaborations, and Priya, Dr. Menon, I'm sure you'll join us. I would also like to thank ASCU for leading this initiative to get everybody together, Sue Fairley, Jody Dixon, and none of that would be possible without the great leadership of Dr. Terry Brown and Dr. Chuck Welch, who allow such engagement to provide internationalization across all institutions, especially ASCU institutions. And finally, I would like to thank my colleagues at Troy University, from Troy University Television, Aaron Taylor and Jeff Herring, for setting this wonderful studio up for me so I can actually look like a professional presenter here today. So thank you, everyone. Sophia, I will turn it back to you, and I'll let you take it from here. Thank you for allowing this to happen.
Thank you, Sahil. Thank you, everybody. And I know we're running out of time, but I'd like to take one question. And this question is probably for our Indian embassy people or whoever has, I think this probably our own concern. Hackmore Lee asked this question regarding the, there are some questions or concerns about how students, faculty mobility and visa assurance for Indian students to enter US will be impacted by the new US administration. What conversations and efforts are occurring presently at your level that will ensure these critical aspects of US Indian educational activities are not negatively impacted in the coming years? So I think this is probably we're all thinking about it. And I'd like to see if Ms. Aditi or someone there have some comments.
I would like Dr. Chandrasekhar as well to chip in, considering the greater university to university connect as such from EdSil's point of view. But as far as, the new administration, the second Trump administration is concerned, we have seen in our journey over past 2 decades or so, 15 years, 2 decades or so, that there is strong bipartisan support for greater partnership whether it is in any sector, whether it is technological collaboration, defense, space, but developing or strengthening the resilient supply chain for strengthening the manufacturing basis as such, securing the industry as such. There has been strong bipartisan support, and I think the education research collaborations, student exchanges, faculty exchanges, they are at the very core of human resource development, the skill development required for all these collaborations possible. So we see these ties to grow stronger, whether on both sides of the dispensation as such. Dr. Chandrasekhar, would you like to add from the institutional point of view?
I think no, it's a valid. I think you rightly touched on how institutions can collaborate. Yeah, now only the facilitation factor is now all these research students also have to register through Study in India. That's why we are making an effort to onboard all institutions with broad qualifications criteria of the institution. So I don't see there is should be any kind of thing, but yeah, as you say, the academic collaborations needs to be stronger. It meets the government objectives, the institute objectives more important, and finally it's the learner choice. So that flexibility is always there. I think everywhere policy discussions we see, yeah, it's a student's choice where he wanted to study, what research he wanted to do, and they go with some kind of an understanding. Yes, there is certain active collaborations as you mentioned, so that is important. I think that's where we need to establish, and convergence is, I think now it's going to be mandatory for all mobility, inside, outside, etc., to go through the Study in India portal. That's important, which I wanted to stress upon. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Thanks, sir. Thanks a
again,
lot.
I want to echo Sohail said. We really appreciate the support from India Embassy, Mr. DT, and UGC, and all the participating institutions and all the presenters. Specifically, thank you, Sohail, for moderating today's webinar. We learned a lot. We have a lot of information, and we will collect all the PPTs and share with you all. And we hope that in the coming years, we'll work together to bring more students. We know the Indian student is the top the top sending countries now for the Indian students. And we would like to work with institutions in India and in the United States to have the institutional collaboration to solve the challenges and work together on a people-to-people connection. Thank you very much, and good night for the friends from India, and have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.